Hello, I am Jody Wolf. You're watching Expoz on September 12, 2015, 10:25 p.m. in Birmingham. Topic: we are about to, man, we're hurting ourselves really bad. And bear with me and you'll understand it. I'm going to read something here that we've already done to Israel, but we're doing it again, but we're doing it 10 times as bad. Listen to this. Now go back on Monday, July 16, 2007. George Bush gave a speech about Israel. It wasn't about him, he gave it to him. The negotiations must resolve difficult questions and uphold clear principles. They must ensure that Israel is secure. They must guarantee that the Palestinian state is viable and contentious. And they must lead to a territorial settlement with mutually agreed borders reflecting previous lines and current realities and mutually agreed adjustments. America is prepared to lead discussions to address these issues, but they must be resolved by the Palestinians and the Israelis themselves. Resolving these issues would help show Palestinians a clear way forward, and ultimately it would lead to a final peace in the Middle East, a permanent end to the conflict, and an agreement on all the issues, including refugees that are now in Jerusalem. Israel has a clear path. Prime Minister Olmert must continue to release Palestinian tax revenues to the government of Prime Minister Fayyad. Prime Minister Olmert has also made clear that Israel's future lies in the developing areas like the Negev in Galilee, not in continuing occupation of the West Bank. This is a reality that Prime Minister Sharon recognizes as well. So unauthorized outposts should be removed and settlements expansion ended. At that time, Israelis should find other practical ways to reduce their footprint without reducing their security. Wow. Let me tell you what came out of that. Obadiah chapter 1, verse 15. I want to check my time, make sure I got some time, and I have. Obadiah chapter 1, verse 15. For the day of the Lord is upon all the earth. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head. Understand what that says. Prior to removal, the Israeli government called on the Jews to evacuate their homes from the 25 settlements. Get this, the United States government called on residents to evacuate their homes prior to the hurricane. On August 17, Israel ordered a mandatory evacuation of the settlements. On September 7, the mayor of New Orleans ordered a mandatory evacuation of the city. The evacuation of 12,000 Jews was the largest in Jewish history since 1948. Several million Americans would evacuate from the path of Hurricane Katrina. It's going to get interesting, guys. The Israeli government disarmed the settlers. The New Orleans police attempted to disarm its citizens. The evacuation destroyed thousands of Jewish homes. The hurricane destroyed or damaged 500,000 American homes. Many Jewish people felt abandoned by their government. Many Americans felt abandoned by the United States government's failure to timely respond to Hurricane Katrina. The Israelis from the settlements were boarded on buses and taken to locations all over Israel. The people trapped in New Orleans were loaded onto buses and taken to shelters all over the United States. The Israeli government barred citizens of Gaza from their homes. American citizens in the destroyed areas were barred from returning to their homes. President Bush promised $2.2 billion for the relocation of the settlers. The early estimates were a cost upwards of $200 billion to repair the hurricane damages. On August 23rd, the president congratulated Prime Minister Sharon for dismantling Jewish settlements, while on August 29th, the president declared Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama disaster areas. The Israeli government turned the settlers in Gaza over to the Palestinians on September 12th. On September 13th, the president was humiliated by, as the publicity took responsibility for the American government failure during Hurricane Katrina relief operations. I tried to read it too quick. I apologize. And I'm way ahead of myself. That's okay. But here's the point. What happened to Israel in 2007, we got the payback. I mean, we're talking about just, days apart. In fact, it boiled down. It got so close, there was 1 day apart. What we did to the Jews, God did to America. I mean, down to the very moving people out on buses and barring them from returning to their homes. Well, God came in and barred Americans from returning to their homes through the American government. Everything that we did to Israel hit us 10 times worse. 12,000 homes, 500,000 here. Well, that may be more than 10 times worse, huh? Look, guys, the point is, we're about to make another grave, horrible mistake. If, for any reason in the world, if we give Iran the right to continue on without inspections and give them $150 billion, then we, the United States, have okayed Iran to build new terrorist groups by the thousands. I don't mean one here and one there. I mean 1,000 here and 1,000 there. New terrorist groups in huge numbers to go throughout the world. And guess what their first target is? Israel. You tell me that if Iran steps foot in Israeli territory, number one, God is going to step in too and slap them back, and they'll never regroup again. But what is God going to do to America? Since he had to do that to protect his people, we today are urging, Obama is just congratulating everybody at a Kool-Aid party with a minority that passed this bill to give Iran the right to build your bombs, the right to hire, build, train thousands of more terrorists and send them throughout the world. But the number one target is going to be Jerusalem. You think God's going to stand by and let that happen? Let me tell you this. If that passes between today or tomorrow, Monday is the day after the Shemitah. Only God knows what's going to happen to the United States. Guys, stand by the Jews, regardless whether this deal goes through or not. Pray that it won't, but tell God, Lord, I stand by your people no matter what. Jody with Expoz.